Chapter 5. So, where we left off, we realized that there's a secret message hidden with little pinholes in the letters written by maybe this lady's mom, maybe someone else. We're not really sure if this lady, Doris Duncan, is telling the truth. They read the secret message and realized that it said, Jenny is hidden, didn't it say, in the stamps. Is that what it said? Jenny hidden on 5th envelope. And then they felt under the stamps because there was extra stamps on the 5th envelope and they felt something under there. Okay, let's look. Chapter 5. I'm going to boil some water, Ruth Rose said. My grandfather used to collect stamps. He showed me how to steam them off envelopes. Ruth Rose ran water in the tea kettle and set the kettle on the burner. Then she turned on the stove. The kids sat and stared at it. Also, you should never use a stove without an adult there. Just saying. Sure is taking a long time to boil, Dink muttered, brushing his fingertips over the sunflower stamps. Suddenly, steam began whistling out of the kettle spout. Dink handed Ruth Rose the empty envelope. Ruth Rose held the envelopes the stamps were right over the kettle's spout. In a few seconds, moisture began gathering on the stamps. Then the stamps began to peel away from the envelope. Cool, Josh said. I feel like a spy. Ruth Rose shut off the stove. Using the tip of a toothpick, she removed the 3 sunflower stamps from the envelope. Hidden beneath the stamps, covered with cellophane, that's like saran wrap, was a smaller stamp. It was blue. In the center of the stamp was a picture of an old-fashioned airplane. The airplane was flying upside down. Dink removed the cellophane. It's an old stamp, he said. Josh poked a finger at the stamp. The dumb thing is printed wrong, he muttered. What's the big deal about an upside-down plain stamp? Wah, wah. Ruth Rose studied the stamp. Maybe it's valuable, she said. My grandfather has a stamp that's worth $200. I wonder if Doris Duncan knew this was here, Dink said. The kids looked at each other, then stared at the little blue stamp. We should go to the library and look at a book about stamps, Ruth Rose said finally. Dink glanced at the kitchen clock. We better make it fast. Doris Duncan will be back in less than an hour. Dink slipped the stamp inside the empty envelope and stuck all 5 envelopes under his shirt. Okay, let's go, he said. Ruth Rose went to the bottom of the hall stairs. Mom, I'm going to the library, she yelled. They hurried through the living room, out the door, and down Ruth Rose's front sidewalk. As they started up Woody Street, Josh nudged Dink with his elbow. Look, there's some weird guy watching us. He pointed at a dark car parked across the other side of the street. Ruth Rose looked. What guy? They all looked. There was no one in the car. Come on, Dink said. We're running out of time. The kids ran all the way to the library. When they charged up the front steps, they were out of breath. Mrs. McElroy looked up as they burst through the door. Slow down, kids, she said. Why? Your faces are red as beets. Hi, Mrs. McElroy, Ruth Rose panted. Can you show us a book about stamps? What kind of stamps, Ruth Rose? United States, foreign. We have many books about stamps, dear. Do you have one about stamps with pictures of upside-down airplanes? Dink asked. It's very specific. Mrs. McElroy smiled. You mean inverts, she said. Stamps that were printed upside down by mistake. She walked to the shelf and returned with a big flat book. You should find your stamp in here, Mrs. McElroy said. Thanks a lot, Dink said. Dink carried the book over to a corner table. He set it down, looked around, then pulled the envelopes from inside his shirt. He carefully removed the blue stamp and placed it on the table. There's a zillion upside-down stamps in here, Josh said, rifling through the pages. How do we find ours? Try the index, Dink said. Under Jenny. Josh turned to the index in the back of the book. So an index is kind of like a table of contents. It tells you where things are, but it tells you by subject. So if you're not sure what chapter you're looking for, but you know a key word that might give you the page you want, you go to the index in the back, you look for that key word, and then it'll tell you what pages that word pops up on. So it's kind of like on your computer, if you did Control F, you could search for a word and it would find everywhere that word pops up on your page. Same thing, but in a book. Called an index. Josh turned to the index in the back of the book. He ran his finger down the J section. No, Jenny, he said. Try looking under airplanes, Ruth Rose suggested. Good idea. Josh backed up a few pages to the A's. He found a listing for airplanes and turned to page 329. And there it was, a picture of the little blue stamp. Below the picture was a drawing of the airplane, only bigger. The caption reads, Curtiss Jenny, single-engine airplane. Hey, Josh said, Jenny's the airplane. Silently, the kids read the paragraph about the stamp. Oh my gosh, Ruth Rose yelled. Mrs. McElroy tapped her pencil on the desk. Ruth Rose, please, she said. Dink picked up the little Jenny stamp. His fingers were shaking. This is worth $15,000, he whispered. No wonder that lady really wanted that stamp. It's a lot of money.